Out the overnight hours. Let's bring in meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson now to talk about what people could be waking up to tomorrow morning.
Now, take a wide view of the Doppler radar, and you could see that big pink area in the center, and that's our area of freezing rainfall. Some areas are getting that freezing rain coming through, and it places a little bit of ice, and it's slippery, but the additional rain moving in just starts to wash it away. So we don't expect a lot of ice to stick around.
Let's bring in meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Rebecca, this winter weather really isn't letting up. Are we going to get relief anytime soon?
It looks like we get another day, Mary, that we're going to head into this mix of winter weather that's going to be freezing rain, snow, and rain all mixed together. And the big concern as we head through the day tomorrow is just how far into Puget Sound lowlands will this area of wintry mix make it. And tomorrow, the heaviest precipitation is going to surround areas of Kitsap Peninsula, Hood Canal, and up into the Cascade foothills.
All right, Rebecca, as we head out the door this morning, we definitely need that rain jacket. Don't forget the rain jacket for the kids as you send them off to school, too.
Rain boots, too, today, because it's just going to be raining all day today. Now, usually we don't forecast record rainfall, but this is one of those days where it does appear that the amount of rainfall we're going to get, and is for as long as it's going to last all day into tonight, we could have some records. So definitely dress for wet weather and puddles and cooler weather, too. Now, Doppler radar shows the rain has increased, and it's working its way up through Seattle, around Hood Canal, moderate rain over the south coast from Pacific County up to Grays Harbor almost, and we're also seeing plenty of snow coming up through the Cascades. From the South Cascades, just now starting to reach up towards Snoqualmie Pass, so we're going to see that turn over to snow for Snoqualmie Pass through the morning, and the travel troubles begin.
And Rebecca, it sounds like the morning commute will be okay tomorrow, but some questions after that.
Yeah, it looks like the amount of rainfall that's going to be coming down through the day tomorrow is going to cause issues with puddles and some localized flooding, neighborhood flooding, or the drainage pipes aren't cleared out. First, our snowpack will absorb the rain. It acts like a sponge. So we're not going to actually lose a lot of snow. It might actually help consolidate the snowpack a little bit. And then hopefully we'll start to get a little more snow on top of this consolidated pack as we get into the beginning of next week.
Something to look forward to. All right, Rebecca, thanks so much.
Focus on tomorrow morning. If you can get up and enjoy the snow, it's going to be wonderful before it melts.
There's no escaping that rain.
Yeah, that's true.
Rebecca, thank you.
You bet. Thanks. See from the snow accumulation, this is the last few hours we've been getting some slushy snow and wet snow right across parts of Snohomish County, even impacting parts of South Whidbey Island. But it's the ice accumulation that's creating the biggest problem. Heaviest amounts have been in southwest Washington, where you can see accumulations of 1/4 of an inch around the Willapa Hills and even up around the South Olympic Mountains towards Elma, and also just outside to the northeast of Centralia.
Rebecca Stevenson joining us again tonight. I guess depending on where you are, it could be a real mess. Here in Seattle, it seems like we're seeing a little bit of rain now.
Yeah, mostly rain. It looks like close to Puget Sound because the temperature is just hovering right around the freezing mark. Some rainfall. Some areas are getting that freezing rain coming through, and it places a little bit of ice, and it's slippery, but the additional rain moving in just starts to wash it away. So we don't expect a lot of ice to stick around unless you are further north, closer to the Canadian border, foothills of the Cascades, or in the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Temperatures will be warming up for Seattle in the mid to upper 30s through the morning hours, so the commute will be in much better shape. It's going to be in the foothills of the Cascades, where you can see ice has already accumulated up to 1/10 of an inch in some of these hills. So those side roads and neighborhoods that don't have treated roads, this is going to be a very slippery stretch from North Bend to Snoqualmie and parts of Hobart. Even along the outer lying areas, Newcastle could have some slippery, icy areas as well. The hills, definitely the slippery spots. But where we expect to see a little more ice start to accumulate through the overnight hours to early morning, focus is mainly around Tacoma, stretching down towards Rainier, DuPont, and also around Lacey. We're going to get about 1/10 of an inch potentially in these spots. Otherwise, that focus is going to continue to be around Enumclaw to North Bend, Index, and Bering. You can see the darker colors indicating we will have some icy conditions here tomorrow for certain. Now, in the meantime, as we get into the morning hours, into the early afternoon, it's going to be snow further north, where a cold, blasting wind out of the northeast comes through, and it creates anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of snow around Bellingham. Whatcom County as a whole, a winter storm warning for you, because you're going to get about 2 to 8 inches of snow. The higher snow amounts will be closer to the foothills, but 1/10 of an inch of ice accumulations with that. About 2/10 of an inch of ice accumulations on a little bit less snow in parts of the Strait of Juan de Fuca. So we're going to see a wintry mix still through the night. And this is where we have that winter storm warning for the ice and snow along Clallam County. And also, as you can see, for Whatcom County, winter weather advisory elsewhere, where we currently have freezing rain lifting north of Tacoma now, stretching up over Seattle towards Everett. It's tracking in. We've got snow mixing in with the freezing rain around Kitsap, and also plenty of snow where we have that winter storm warning across the San Juan Islands, Whatcom County, and even parts of Skagit County. But you could be fooled thinking it's rain when it's actually areas of freezing rain and rain mixed together. It's just an icy night. Now, mountain snow event, talking about 16 to 38 inches of new snow above 1,500 feet. So some of those foothills will be very white tomorrow. This is the storm that's creating it, our weather maker, moving out as we get into the morning hours. But tomorrow early afternoon, the second round moves in. So we'll expect to see the snow hang around. With this second round, most all of us will have the increase of rainfall coming in. You can see that surge as we get about 10 a.m. into the noon hour, and then it starts to drift southward. Boy, the snow will be coming down heavily in the mountains, too. And then we'll expect to see a brief break before we have a new round move in for parts of our Thursday. Now, eastern Washington, you can expect 2 to 3 inches in the central basin, but over a foot as we get into the course of the eastern side of the state and the east slopes of the Cascades as well. So the 7-day forecast, we've got 7 days of rainfall ahead. Thursday still has some rain, snow mixed, some of those heavier showers, but otherwise it's rain at times. Friday through the weekend into the early week. It's a very wet but much warmer forecast.
We'll take it. Ice, there's just nothing worse.
No, there's not.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Plunging temps will lead to another tough morning commute. Let's bring in meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Rebecca, this winter weather really isn't letting up. Are we going to get relief anytime soon?
It looks like we get another day, Mary, that we're going to head into this mix of winter weather that's going to be freezing rain, snow, and rain all mixed together. And the big concern as we head through the day tomorrow is just how far into Puget Sound lowlands will this area of wintry mix make it. Now, you can see Blaine Whatcom County viewer video showing that snow really coming down. We had snow totals up to the north interior. You can see the snow accumulation on the map in the last 24 hours. Blaine had over 9 inches of snow, and we had reports over 2 inches of snow, even from Mount Vernon. A lot of slushy areas all the way down towards Shoreline and stretching a little bit further towards Edmonds as well, as a convergence zone set up and started to bring in some wet, slushy snow mixing with the rain. So some similar conditions will be outside tomorrow, but they'll be caused by different reasons. But let's talk right now about the current temperatures and where we've got the showers right now. They're slowly diminishing, a much quieter night, but still those pockets of freezing rain or even some snow around Everett. Temperatures currently mid-30s, but we expect them to be dropping now and hovering around the freezing point, which brings in the concerns for the wintry mix and some snow and ice together, especially around Kitsap, Mason, and Thurston counties, and all along the foothills of the Cascades, just sliding down closer to Issaquah and definitely impacting North Bend. So coming up, we'll talk more on the forecast about where to expect the sleet and the snow, and we'll also talk about those powerful Cascadia winds that'll make things very difficult for those foothills of the Cascades once again.
All right, Rebecca Stevenson joining us now. Our weather expert here to tell us what we have to expect tomorrow and tonight.
Well, tonight, thank goodness, things are calming down. We're getting a little bit quieter. The moisture is leaving the area, so we get a temporary break. But the temperature is still going to drop.
Oh, okay.
We're still going to get near freezing, and with that near freezing mark when we start the morning out, you're going to want to know when the precipitation comes. And tomorrow, the heaviest precipitation is going to surround areas of Kitsap Peninsula, Hood Canal, and up into the Cascade foothills. So this is going to be our focus of very tough day to get around, to travel, to go to the store, really to do much, because it's going to be a combination of moisture with freezing rain and snow included. A lot less in the way of rainfall Friday. It's going to be pushing northward, so it'll be a little bit drier south of Everett on Friday, but then a series of weather systems coming in. It's going to keep us in the rainfall because tomorrow's pretty much the last day that we're expecting to see the freezing rain and the snow. Now, where we have winter weather advisory includes includes so many widespread areas, anything really east of I-405, just east of Lake Sammamish, into the foothills from Granite Falls down to Eatonville and Yelm, but also on the Kitsap and Olympic Peninsulas. We're going to see, again, for the eastern portion of the Strait of Juan de Fuca, you're going to see a little drier. But for the western side, you've got some snow and ice to contend with as we get in the day. So right now, temperatures range in the cities, a little warmer, mid-30s, but we've already got Olympia at 31 and Shelton at Olympia at 32 and Shelton at 31. And that means as the moisture comes in, if these temperatures stay right where they're at, we are going to get some snow and freezing rain definitely around the South Sound again for Olympia over towards Yelm. So hour by hour forecast for Seattle. Yes, there's slippery roads, but around the city, mid-30s expected when you wake up in the morning. Our next weather maker is a warm front that'll spread plenty of moisture up from the south, and that's going to ride up on top of the cold air in place, and that's being reinforced by some strong east winds induced by that low pressure traveling next to the coast. Winds will be gusting anywhere from 40 to 50 miles an hour in the gaps of the Cascades. So then you put in that kind of powerful wind gust, 30 to 40 miles an hour in areas not directly in front of the gap, and you're going to combine that with the ice on the trees and the heavier snow weight that's coming down at the foothills. Snow level around 1,500 feet. It's pretty low. So Futurecast showing initially as this weather system moves in, we'll get a rain-snow mix for a lot of us, but we're really looking for that freezing rain potential in the areas of pink. It will impact parts of southern Snohomish and North King counties, and you can also see it around the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Slowly, we do warm up through the day. It'll mainly be rain, but we get another shot of snow for Whatcom County, and the foothills are going to get snow and freezing rain. Currently, as we look at our snow totals, you can see about an inch or two right along the foothills, up to another 2 inches for Bellingham and through parts of the Strait of Juan de Fuca. The ice accumulations, they're going to be heavy up to a quarter of an inch in the Cascade foothills and also for the west entrance to the strait. So overnight tonight, temperatures back down in the low to mid 30s, and tomorrow, the forecast does bring our high temperatures up into the mid to upper 30s during the day, but we are going to have that wintry precipitation, rain and snow mixed with the potential of a little pocket of freezing rain here and there in the Seattle area up and down Puget Sound. But I'd say most likely watch out for it around Olympia, South Sound, and also, again, the foothills and Hood Canal. And then we get a little warmer, thank goodness. Getting to the 7-day forecast, you can see highs will be in the 40s, in fact, low 50s by next week. But we've got rain at times. Almost every day we're going to get rain in some form. So get ready for a long, dark, wet week ahead.
Wait.
It'd be nice to leave the ice, though, in the rearview mirror.
Oh, yeah, it will be.
Thank you.
You bet.
All right, let's take a live look over downtown Seattle today. The rain has been coming down and more where that came from. It's a bit of a disconnect because it's rainy, but it is also warm in January. Rebecca, let's get to that rain in a minute. I got to talk about these warm temperatures right now.
I know.
Oh, jeez.
Absolutely remarkable.
Take my jacket off.
You know, 60 degrees is so rare in January. It's really only happened about 11 times in the past. So to add on a couple of 60-degree days, well, it's no laughing matter. That's really warm for the time of year. And temperatures right now, as we're getting into the middle of the night, we're in the mid-50s, mid to upper 50s. It was only in the last hour and a half that Olympia broke the record high temperature. And it's a similar story for Aberdeen. We just had a surge of warm air come up from the south, and we just warmed up, and we're just trying to get those temperatures back down a little bit because it's the nighttime hours. Well, nonetheless, we've got a temperature right now in Olympia of 60 degrees. That's just remarkable. Seattle, you're 59 degrees, and in Tacoma coming in at 59, most of us in the mid-50s. So these temperatures are going to be staying pretty warm through the course of the next few days. But I got to show you the low temperatures because overnight tonight, the coolest we're going to get is the low 50s. Boy, we were begging for anything in the 40s, what, a week ago when we had the Arctic air mass in place. So this is just really remarkable. So anyway, it's a warm start tomorrow. It's going to be a warm end as well. Monday, of course, you'll see those temperatures still in the upper 40s to low 50s for lows, and we're going to stay on the warm side of things until we get into late Wednesday night. That's when we're going to break this risk of the atmospheric river. We're going to break these warm temperatures. We're going to get things back to normal as we get into Thursday and Friday. But till then, high snow levels, the heavier rain at times in certain places like the Olympic Mountains and in the Cascades. It's bringing in that flood warning risk. for all of our rivers really flowing out of the Olympics and Cascades. So the flood warning is until further notice for Skokomish River. This is usually the first to flood as we get into our rainy season, but the Skokomish River is going to stay pretty high as we get through the next few days, and especially around the southwest facing slopes of the Olympics. They're going to get hammered with the rainfall, as that's the direction that all this moisture is coming up out of. You can see this plume of rainfall right now stretching out across the north coast, but you can also see the back edge of this. This is the little front. I shouldn't say little. It's not little at all, but it's been enhanced by an atmospheric river that eventually is going to start to tip and push right up into British Columbia. But this actual front will be moving through overnight into the early morning hours Sunday, so we're going to see a drier break. That's why as you get into the morning hours, right around 7 a.m., most of us will be on the drier side of this. Still some sprinkles and light rain, but that dry break will last till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll have a new little round of rain, most of it hitting the Olympic Peninsula, pushing through pretty fast, and we get to another drier break going into tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. And this is why I think that you're going to notice more the warmer temperatures, and you won't notice how much rain is just downpouring in the Olympic Mountains or even the North Cascades for that matter. Futurecast rainfall shows that we're going to have over 1.3 inches of rain again on our coast. Heavier amounts in the Olympic Mountains tomorrow. Move inland, and we're still going to have 3/4 inch of rain on the way between now and tomorrow night. So it's still some good solid hit of rain, but we just get those drier breaks in between, and that gives us much needed time to let those rivers recede as we need them to, since the snow level's around 8,000 feet and we have the avalanche warning. So overnight tonight, pretty warm, low to mid 50s. So that's where you're going to wake up to, and then your highs will be back up to the upper 50s to low 60s tomorrow. Again, expect that little drier break there during your daytime hours. So tomorrow, just not an all-out downpouring type of rain, mild with that rain coming in, especially on the coast and over the Olympic Peninsula. East of the Cascades, you're going to be in the mid 40s and warm, and we'll have a little rain at times. We're keeping that weather warn on for tomorrow night into Monday because we're still going to have that plume of moisture threatening those river flooding conditions and the avalanche and landslide threat. However, as we get into Monday night, that's when rain picks up again. We'll have showery conditions Tuesday, but the next Pineapple Express, the big swath of rainfall, really hits Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Then we start to ease out of it.
I
and
like
we
how
can
you
all
said that.
relax.
That makes me feel better. Was it Olympia that hit that? Was it a record, 60 degrees?
Yeah, 61, yes.
61. Impressive, Olympia.
Yes.
Thank you.
You bet.
We'll keep an eye on that. Let's take a live look for you at Seattle. As you can see earlier, it didn't just rain, it actually poured. This is really just the beginning. We have a weather warn on the horizon, not just for the Cascades, but here in the lowlands too. Let's bring in meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson to talk about, really a lot to talk about, some really warm temperatures here and this atmospheric river that's just kind of going to hit us, isn't it?
Yeah, the edge of it is just hovering over us. It kept us very warm and very wet today. Today we had some impressive rain totals. Right now, most of our rain is draped across the coast, the north coast, and into the North Cascades. But it will be moving primarily into British Columbia as it crosses the coast through the day tomorrow. Tonight, we're going to see this rain slowly make its way overhead and pass eastward to give us a drier break tomorrow. Now, our temperatures right now, we're not too far off where our record highs were just in the last couple of hours, but mid to upper 50s, sitting in Tacoma and Olympia, both at 59 degrees. Futurecast rain shows that for the next several days, most of the rain will be focused on Vancouver Island and British Columbia. 6 to 7 inches of rain expected there, but we won't be too far off for that 6 to 7 inches of rainfall over the Olympic Mountains and the North Cascades. Currently, that's the forecast for the atmospheric river in the next 5 days. We can see that we'll get a drier break tomorrow, later in the day through the first part of our Monday, before the next hit of an atmospheric river comes late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So we're not out of the woods, especially when it comes to a landslide threat for excessive rainfall across western Washington, especially in the mountains, and this is destabilizing our snowpack. So an avalanche warning already impacting our area. We'll have more details in the rest of the forecast coming up.
We are on the verge of another weather-worn day because of the atmospheric river pointed right at our friends to the north, but also pointing our way as well. Let's get on over to meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson right away because it's all about the rain and these warm temps. And Rebecca, I know you were looking. You've pulled out the record books for rain.
Yes, record rainfall now, at least for 2 spots. And we're so close to having record rain on the north coast at Quileute Airport. Now, we know that if Quileute breaks record rainfall, we have a very wet day for the area because they've got such high rain totals as it is, so close to the rainforest on the other side of the Olympic Mountains. Right now, 2.53 inches of rainfall at Forks, and you only need 0.06 more, and we're probably going to get that in the next hour. So as we look right now at Aberdeen, that would be Hoquiam's rain gauge, and that is a record rainfall amount, over an inch. And Bellingham also has exceeded their record rainfall total. They're sitting at 66 hundredths of an inch right now, and Seattle coming up on 0.7 of an inch, not a record. We need another inch of rainfall at Seattle, but I think people might cry if I said that was on the way in short time. Look at the amount of rainfall we're going to have as we get by the time we get to Thursday, we're going to have over almost 4.5 inches out in the north coast. We're going to have close to 6 to 7 inches of rainfall that'll help come down in the Olympics. Snow levels up at 8,000 feet in the Cascades. Right now, the target point is the North Cascades, potentially down into parts of the Central Cascades, not quite to Snoqualmie Pass, but we expect Everett to get another 1.5 inches of rainfall between now and Thursday. So really wet weather, enhancing this risk of landslides. Now, as we go to temperatures right now, we're sitting in the mid to upper 50s, both Tacoma and Olympia at 59 degrees. We had record high temperatures for Tacoma. Your records haven't been kept. They started being kept in 1982, so not that long of a record there, but something to note. Now, for Olympia, 59 degrees currently, and your high temperature was a record at 61. We have had very toasty, warm temperatures across the board. I believe even Hoquiam also tied their record. As you look at the low temperature tracker, we're going to be in the low 50s when you wake up in the morning. We're just really not cooling off. This is a really warm air mass, a really wet air mass too, and the bulk of that moisture, the atmospheric river, is going to point up to British Columbia tomorrow. But what happens is it impacts the snowpack in the mountains. Now, snowpack will typically absorb rain that falls into it initially. It takes a little while for it to actually have melt off that causes flooding. But it is thick and it's heavy, and we already have an avalanche warning in the Okanagan Highlands. So this is not ideal weather for skiing at all. Now, you go to the Doppler radar, you can see the heaviest rain currently right across the north coast up into Vancouver. The back edge of this front, that will be moving over us through the morning hours. So we're going to get a little dry break as we get closer to about 9 a.m. There's that little dry break coming in a little 7:30. And then as we get closer to 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, heaviest rain on the coast and Olympics, a little sweep of rain, and we'll get back to a drier break tomorrow evening that'll last through the first part of your Monday. Nonetheless, we're going to still end up with about 3/4 of an inch of rain in Seattle just from the rain overnight tonight. Now, your temperatures overnight, again, very mild, low 50s, and we're going to have rainfall, again, just that brief little period in the afternoon. So we're going to have a couple of dry breaks tomorrow. It won't be a complete washout with highs in the upper 50s, even for the north interior and on the coast. Now, as we get towards our forecast for eastern Washington, that's where we're going to be in the mid 40s with rain at times. So soggy weather. We're really going to get the next hit of an atmospheric river coming in Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So that'll be our next round of super wet weather and mild temperatures till then. Probably some more records are going to fall. And then we cool off with just showers, bring that snow level down, get things to normal.
Just the way you said it. I feel better. Thank you. That's a lot to take. We'll be right back.
And you know what, Mother Nature putting on a show, keeping things very beautiful for this.
You couldn't ask for better weather for it, to go out and see boats out in the water, or maybe if you're doing like I am and taking a box of paper that needs to be shredded. Free shredding in so many different places. Just Google online and put in your county and Earth Day, and you can see all the events going on for the day. Plenty of special things to do. But back to Mother Nature putting on a show. This is the sun coming up behind Double Bluff, Whidbey Island. Oh, what a nice look here as the sun sun's coming up. We're getting brighter. It's chilly. I'll warn you, you're going to want to layer up because the temperatures are starting out in the 30s. But this is the magic hour. Look at how the water changes colors. It's like it's going from blue to pinks and purples. Just so pretty when the sun comes up this time of year. We've got a chilly start for Shelton at 31 degrees and Seattle starting out at 43, even out in the coast next to the Pacific Ocean. We've got Aberdeen at 36 degrees and Olympia right at freezing. So our frost advisory, oh, it's on. It's on till 8 o'clock this morning, and that's when our temperatures are going to get out of this zone where these tender plants and flowers that you may have just planted are going to risk getting frozen and suffering from this frost that we've got this morning. Downtown Seattle and looking across Lake Union, you can see the flag flying at 43 degrees and mostly clear skies, but that wind is going to be picking up through the afternoon. We're going to have that north wind coming down Puget Sound, picking up 20 to 25 miles an hour. So your ferry ride back home, even though the air temperature is warming, it may still feel rather cool. It'll be cool out there on the water because our weather maker's high pressure. And as it's building up and over, it's going to help create that wind as air will rush from higher pressure to lower pressure, which is what it's going to do right down Puget Sound. Otherwise, the next weather maker coming in, low pressure. It starts to swing in some showers north of Seattle on Wednesday. We're all going to be in the rain by Thursday. So 2 days of sunshine and dry weather. Today, a high temperature in Maple Valley getting around 62. Up to the north interior of both Mount Vernon, O'Connor, and even in Bellingham, right around 60. Gorgeous weather on the coast in the upper 50s, mainly on the beaches. Inland, we'll have Olympia and Chehalis in the mid-60s, mid to upper 60s for Tri-Cities, over to Spokane, low 60s. All this sunshine sticks around with the warm temperatures, in fact, even warmer tomorrow. But clouds will be on the increase tomorrow to signal the change coming for Wednesday. And what a cool down that rain's going to bring. We'll have more on your forecast for the day ahead coming up. Right now, here's Kelly.
Well, new this morning, we were hearing from NASA for a global pulse check on our oceans and our atmosphere.
Okay, Rebecca, tell us more about NASA's newest Earth-observing satellite. It's pretty cool.
It is. It's really neat. It's called the PACE satellite, and that stands for Plankton Aerosol Cloud Ocean Ecosystem, and it does that by looking out there closely at our oceans and our atmosphere. It observes the plankton in the water and things like smoke in the atmosphere to determine the impact they're going to have on our climate. NASA scientist Natasha Sayoff explained how it works when she joined us live in our last hour.
So we can see not just that there are some plankton in the water, but what are those plankton and how are they influencing our ecosystems? We're all familiar with things like harmful algal blooms or red tides. So we want to know if those types of phenomena are happening. Same thing with the atmosphere. Instead of just seeing that there's some aerosols in the atmosphere, we can see is it wildfire smoke? Is it ash? Is it dust? Is it other types of aerosols that can have an impact on our health?
This satellite only just launched in February, and it's already yielding such exciting results and images. We've added a link to all of that for you now at KOMOnews.com/hotlinks.
It is so cool to see all that imagery, and it's just really, in the end, going to help us live healthier.
Yes, and it's neat to be able to look at that. And so when we start getting into our fire season, we can really see where those plumes of smoke are, and we start talking more about air quality. We can see it in a broad view from space. It'll be nice.
So cool. All right, thanks, Rebecca. We'll be right back.
All right, Rebecca, as we head out the door this morning, we definitely need that rain jacket. Don't forget the rain jacket for the kids as you send them off to school, too.
Rain boots, too, today, because it's just going to be raining all day today. Now, usually we don't forecast record rainfall, but this is one of those days where it does appear that the amount of rainfall we're going to get, and as long as it's going to last all day into tonight, we could have some records. So definitely dress for wet weather and puddles and cooler weather, too. Going from the Arlington Airport, temperatures 46 degrees and a calm wind right now. Humidity, of course, 100% because we've got so much water out there coming out of the sky. 49 in Seattle now with a south-southeasterly about 13 miles an hour. We're going to get breezy later today, but one of the spots will be around the east entrance to the strait. However, notice how the satellite and the radar We have some drier weather. Currently, we have a rain shadow right over this northeast area, Discovery Bay to Sequim. Otherwise, it's rain for everybody else. And boy, this rain is out on the coast, and that rain is going to be tracking inland, and we're going to expect it to be a soggy day as we get to the course of the afternoon. Looking currently at the wide view of Doppler radar of the next weather maker, it's this front that's pushing on shore, and this front is going to be stalling out right over Seattle. And that front, as it stalls, is just very slowly going to fall apart. It's going to end up bringing now another inch of rainfall potentially to the coast, and temperatures also pretty mild as all this rain's coming down. Will be in the low 50s today. So right now, starting your day in the upper 40s, soggy, wet, plenty of puddles. Futurecast showing the rain moving in at 4 o'clock this afternoon. The rain's still around, and finally around 11:30 tonight, it starts to break up to scattered showers. Our forecast high temperatures today, mainly in the low to mid 50s. The 7-day forecast, whoops, we're not going to look at the Rainier's forecast, but that is going on today. And I'll tell you, it's going to be a soggy one out there. We'll have that 7-day forecast for you coming right up. Right now, I'm going to toss it over to Tyra, see how the roadways are looking, because I know traffic's going to be a lot slower today with all this water around.
It's already slow. I've already seen a couple crashes.
Snoqualmie Pass has had 4 inches of new snow in the last 24 hours. Alpental is reporting 6 inches of new snow. But there's a round of warming rain expected on Tuesday. KOMO meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson joins us now tonight. So, Rebecca, how long does Snoqualmie Pass have before it's too warm, snow getting more slushy?
We've got at least tonight through the first half of our Tuesday, Molly. Things are going to be gradually warming up once we get past about 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I'm showing you the snow levels here just to show you we're going to be with those snow levels around 3,000 feet tonight. Slowly they'll lift up by tomorrow afternoon closer to 4,000 feet. What happens is we get closer to 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Yeah, 7,000 feet's the snow level once we get to our Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, that's too high for snow, but nonetheless, the concern here is for travel, getting up to the passes. The morning hours are going to be great, and if you leave any of the lifts and get in your car and start traveling down the pass closer to the 4 p.m. hour, you should be okay. But the freezing rain and the glaze of ice starts to kick in as we get past that 4 o'clock hour. It looks like that'll probably start happening closer to 6, 7 o'clock. So as I showed the snow in the Futurecast here, this goes up to 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. You can see it'll be snowing while you're out there. Overnight tonight into tomorrow morning up to 4 p.m. anyway. We have up to a foot of snow coming for Paradise at Mount Rainier. For Snoqualmie Pass and Stevens Pass, we'll get 7 inches of new snow. And then we move into that period of things warming up, snow level lifting, that risk of the icing from freezing rain. Yeah, we're going to have some really slippery roads, and the problem is going to spread out for all of the Cascade passes. So this is going to be a tough tomorrow night, but Snoqualmie Pass, I give it the thumbs up. It's looking great for early tomorrow morning to get some good rides in on the lifts and take it easy down the slopes.
Yeah, that sounds great, doesn't it? Open for pass holders tomorrow. We're so close to the first day of winter officially. What's causing this warm up that's rolling in?
Oh, sadly, we've got this atmospheric river that's just pointing right at us tomorrow. And as all this moisture-rich air is also tapping into parts of the tropics, that's pulling that warmer, moist air right up and depositing it here in western Washington. And part of the reason it is directed at us is because there's high pressure just to the south of Seattle. And so basically this atmospheric river is just traveling up the side of that high pressure that just sits there, and it's going to let all that warm air just surge right up from the south with all that moisture. Just when we think we might have a little bit of variation in the snow level, we get a new round of an atmospheric river going into the end of the week. So we're not going to shake off this pattern of the high snow levels until we get past probably this next weekend.
And Rebecca, when you talk about an atmospheric river, we often worry about the rivers down below. Are there flooding concerns?
There are. Right now, we definitely have a flood watch on the Skokomish River. As we all know, typically floods when we get this much rain out there and the high snow levels. But stretching across all of the Cascades, the focus point for us is going to be the North Cascades and the rivers flowing off them up around Whatcom and Skagit counties. That's potentially a spot where we could get 5 to 7 inches of rainfall over the next few days. So rivers and streams and creeks starting tomorrow night are going to be under a watch. We get Wednesday, though, which is a drier day, and that's going to help things not flood so much. Wednesday, briefly, the snow level comes down, but then it just goes back up again with all the rainfall again on Thursday and Friday.
All right, Rebecca, thank you.
You bet.
Stories like that make you thankful to be where we're at because no tornado warnings here. Just plenty of wind, plenty of rain coming up these next several days, basically every day in sight coming up.
It looks like, there's going to be a certain amount of rainfall coming down and the warming temperatures. I think that's what really got my attention was the rain coming in on top of warm temperatures, which means all this great snow we've got in the mountains. I'm going to give it about 2 days before it starts to really absorb all the rain that's going to be coming in for Wednesday in specific. But right now, look at this gorgeous picture. Tandem Wheels up in Skagit County captured a shot of the full cold moon and Mount Baker dimly lit in the background. The alpenglow in the white snow at the peaks of Mount Baker. Well, it got more of that snow on the way tonight, and the clouds increased, so we can't see the moon anymore, but we sure do have a lot of rain out there. Now, king tides are still a part of this forecast, too, with a coastal flood advisory in place for tomorrow, also on the central coast and up to the north interior, including the San Juans. So we're just going to have a little bit of minor flooding from those king tides. Now, Doppler radar shows the rain has increased, and it's working its way up through Seattle, around Hood Canal. Moderate rain over the south coast from Pacific County up to Grays Harbor almost. And we're also seeing plenty of snow coming up through the Cascades. From the South Cascades, just now starting to reach up towards Snoqualmie Pass. So we're going to see that turn over to snow for Snoqualmie Pass through the morning, and the travel troubles begin. Well, at least it'll be winter travel. Throw the chains in the trunk. Overnight tonight, we will have temperatures cooling in the upper 30s, cloudy skies, and expect rain through the night. As we get into the early morning hours, temperatures are cool enough in parts of Whatcom County, those wind-sheltered valleys where temperatures dip down just low enough to the dew point. We could have little rain snow showers mixed in a few places around Whatcom County early tomorrow morning. That's primarily the only spot that I'm seeing that chance come in. Just know that you may have some slick roads out there. Our next weather maker is this warm front moving through into the morning. By 9 a.m., most of it's just rain showers stretched across the Central Sound and the South Sound, and plenty of snow in the mountains. And here's the indication. This model is showing a little bit of a rain-snow mix here and parts of near western Whatcom County, so that chance is there. Otherwise, another little disturbance rolls in across South Washington for more rain showers tomorrow evening, snow in the South Cascades, and then Tuesday at noon, another weather system, intense heavier rainfall, more snow, things warm up, and we get much heavier rain with an atmospheric river on our Wednesday, and that's going to be mostly rain coming down at higher elevations. So looking at our forecast tonight for snow, we do expect several inches of snow, 4 to 8 inches for the Cascades overnight, mainly above 3,000 feet, and about 2 to 6 inches of snow in parts of the lower elevations of central Washington. So a snowy day to start out Monday for Washington State, except for the west side. This is where we're going to have that rain change to scattered showers in the afternoon. We'll get some dry breaks, and the temperatures will be hovering around the mid-40s. Breezy winds with some gusts around the islands, about 25 to 35 miles an hour, also on the coast, and we'll expect temperatures to top out near 50 for a high in Olympia. And it'll be like a snow day with some areas of snow across the Columbia Basin, about 1 to 3 inches, Aniat to Moses Lake, even over to Spokane. 7-day forecast for Seattle. I have a weather warn on Tuesday and Wednesday because that's our atmospheric river day. As we get into Tuesday night and Wednesday, it's going to warm up a bit, some strong gusty winds expected, and we'll have plenty of rain on each day as we move out in time. Hopefully our weather models will start to agree in the how much rain, where, and when. Right now, I can tell you, Wednesday, rainy and warmer. And warmer and rainy for the end of the week, too.
At least we got some sun today.
Yeah.
That's all we can ask for at this point.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Rebecca, so much.
Meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson is back. And Rebecca, it sounds like the morning commute will be okay tomorrow, but some questions after that.
Yeah, it looks like the amount of rainfall that's going to be coming down through the day tomorrow is going to cause issues with puddles and some localized flooding, neighborhood flooding, where the drainage pipes aren't cleared out. But also, as we get up into the mountain passes, we're going to see another round of some fresh snow coming down. Earlier today, a lot of folks were measuring the snow anywhere from Snoqualmie Pass and Stevenson Pass down into the east slopes of the Cascades. This is Klickitat County. Thanks to Norbert Miller sending this into our So Northwest Facebook page. Several inches of fresh snow across the east slopes, and this is close to Trout Lake. Just a gorgeous picture here. Very snowy, more on the way for you, but the problem is once the ice starts to come down with freezing rain, it's not so fun to drive on anymore, but definitely fun to play in, like that Black Lab's having a great time. Our Doppler radar showing we've got rain showers tonight, and they're moving up from the south right over Seattle. It's slowly but surely going to make its way up towards Everett, but many showers here and the light rain, it's going to taper off and wrap up tonight. The main player when it comes to our atmospheric river and the heavy rain, that's coming tomorrow about mid-morning to noon. Temperatures tonight, though, with the rain showers, will be pretty mild, upper 30s to low 40s in the morning hours for your lows. Cloudy skies. Expect futurecast rainfall to show us that tomorrow, with rain all day, locally heavy at times, is going to be significant. 1 1/3 inches of rain expected right around Seattle, and 1.5 inches around Bremerton. Well over 3 inches of rainfall in the Olympic Mountains, probably closer to 5 inches when all is said and done. So we're concerned, yes, about flooding and some puddling around the neighborhoods, but also as this weather system moves through. First, the warm front is going to bring a surge of warmer air. That's going to make our snow levels lift up. The atmospheric river is going to continue to funnel in the rainfall for us as the cold front that's associated, pushes in late tomorrow night. So it's two fronts coming in tomorrow with an atmospheric river, snow levels lifting up. We're going to have a period of not just rain for the lowlands, but snow for the mountains increasing. And by tomorrow evening, we're going to see freezing rain as that warmer air moves in. It's going to create that layer of cold air right at ground level. So it's going to be icy in the Cascades eastward. Here's the rainfall. You can see there's the cold front, 11 o'clock across the Olympic Peninsula. This is some heavy rainfall coming in. So the snow is going to be fantastic to ski in tomorrow morning. But I would start to head out of the slopes and get out of the mountains by the time you get closer to 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because that's the approximate time we're going to see that warmer air start to change things to freezing rain. And it's just going to be ice trying to go either direction out of Snoqualmie Pass, Stevens Pass, really any pass out there. Tomorrow is just going to be an overall wet day. Late tomorrow night, the wind gusts pick up. So rainy day, the wind gusts for Seattle, for Puget Sound, 25 to 30 miles an hour. The north interior, a little windier around the islands. Gusts here up to about 45 miles an hour, and your high temperatures topping out upper 40s tomorrow. Closer to low 50s for the South Washington area, low 50s ocean shores. Gusts around Pacific County coast. That's where we could potentially see 55 to 60 mile per hour gusts. That's where the strongest gusts will be. 30 to 35 around the South Sound and east of the Cascades. That wintry mix with snow and ice is going to stretch across eastern Washington. Highs only in the mid-30s. We should be trying to clear out of this by the time we get past mid-morning Wednesday. I can tell you the rain's going to taper off for us. The wind will ease Wednesday morning. A dry break is exactly what we're going to need here in western Washington to help give the rivers a break. But we're going to stay warm, and Thursday, Friday, each night brings a new round of rain. Showers on our first day of winter, Saturday, and then Sunday brings the next round of some heavy rain and some stronger winds. Pretty active stretch here, but for the most part, I'd say, hey, just focus on tomorrow morning. If you can get up and enjoy the snow, it's going to be wonderful before it melts.
There's no escaping that rain.
Yeah, that's true.
Rebecca, thank you.
You bet.
Well, if we called today rainy, it wouldn't be descriptive enough. Meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson joins us tonight. So, Rebecca, how much rain is in the gauges tonight?
Well, here, I got the map up for you, Mary, because it is just absolutely impressive. Now, yes, we've had some rainier days. The, all-time wettest day was over 5 inches of rain in Seattle at SeaTac. But you could see with almost 3 inches of rain coming down on the coast and the Olympic Mountains foothills there to the southwest. We've got got record rain now for Hoquiam, and we've also got record rain in Olympia, and we've got much lighter amounts farther north, but even then, we've still got about close to an inch of rain coming in Seattle. So we've got some pretty wet conditions overall. Here's where the rain totals have come to for the records. And you can see just blasting old records out from 1994 and 1979 for
Wow.
Olympia.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So it does feel a little bit warmer tonight for December. So is that contributing to all the weather-related travel problems we're seeing this evening?
Definitely. That warmer temperature, the warmer air that's just surging in through the night tonight has been sending those snow levels up really, really high. And so now we're about 10 to almost 20 degrees warmer in some cases compared to the same time last night. So now that we're riding so far above normal and the temperatures are into the mid to upper 50s, we're seeing the snow levels in the mountains lift up. And so that means all this moisture that's coming down from this atmospheric river that's just hammering us right now, that's extra moisture, just a moisture plume tapping from the subtropics coming right up into this frontal system that's moving in. Now that we're not getting snow up high in the mountains, it's just rainfall coming down onto top of the snowpack, but it's also starting to run down into our river system. So we're going to have some issues with some minor flooding in places. So far, I don't see any big issues with river flooding across the board, but because it's warmer air coming in on top of the cold air, we've got a lot of freezing rain that has developed across the Cascade Passes. Now, we do expect another atmospheric river to be coming in, more likely to have a higher impact by the time we hit Sunday. So we'll be watching that one pretty closely. In the meantime, half a foot or more of snow at Baker and then putting ice on top of that. You can see our ice accumulations here right over the passes. So it's icy, it is tough driving, and it's not going to be easy to commute back and forth across the Cascades first thing in the morning, that is for certain.
I know the drivers are nervous about the passes this time of year, but the skiers and boarders are waiting for the snow. So the snowpack looks okay, but then you mentioned the rain on top of the snow. Is it just going to ruin it altogether, or will the snow come back?
The snow's going to come back because there's enough of a wave in these weather systems coming through that our snow level, it's going down a little bit and then it surges up again and it comes down a little bit. So there's going to be a little give and take going on. But overall, this amount of rain moving through, first our snowpack will absorb the rain. It acts like a sponge. So we're not going to actually lose a lot of snow. It might actually help consolidate the snowpack a little bit. And then hopefully we'll start to get a little more snow on top of this consolidated pack as we get into the beginning of next week.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
All right, Rebecca, thanks so much. All right, let's check back in with Rebecca now. A soggy day, yes, we know, but things are about to get interesting on this weather-worn night.
Oh, very interesting. We've got a front right now that's on the coast, and it's been bringing in the most powerful wind gusts that we've had so far tonight. But look who's come in to visit at Leavenworth. We had so much snow come down across the Cascades earlier today. It was perfect setup for Santa Claus. But now the snow has been shifting to freezing rain for much of the night, and we have icy, slippery, very treacherous travel conditions across all of the Cascades into the east slopes. And that's going to keep going as we get into the morning hours of our Wednesday. Now, currently, the big issue is how warm it is. We are 10 to 20 degrees warmer right now than we were at the same time last night. With this surge of the warm air, that's a big reason we're getting the freezing rain in the passes. But temperatures right now very near the 60-degree mark in a few spots. We surged up in Tacoma, now at 56 degrees, Everett at 50, and even Bellingham at 55 degrees. Now, these are the warmer temperatures. What's about to slam inland tonight is some colder air. Not a significant amount colder, but it's going to take temperatures down a little bit by about 8 or 9 degrees through tomorrow. But look at the wind gusts that we've had. The highest so far, Hoquiam reporting a 70-mile-per-hour gust just in the last 45 minutes. Wind gusts surging up Puget Sound, gusting 41 miles an hour for Olympia, 40 for Bellingham. These are the current wind gusts here, and you can see Hoquiam has now exceeded 70 miles an hour, getting 72-mile-per-hour gusts. And this is inland Grays Harbor. This is where we're having such huge problems with flooding and issues with roads being closed because there's so much water. It's because the water is coming out of the sky faster. We can see there's about an inch an hour coming out of this rainfall. So we're getting some significant wind, significant water, and we've got the snow and the freezing rain. And all this brought to you by an atmospheric river, coupling the warmer air first to create these slippery conditions where we expect our winter weather advisory to expire as we get closer to 4 a.m. Now, Doppler radar currently showing you the cold front with that very heavy rainfall stretched across the coast. This is going to be moving in the next several hours over our inland cities. So we're going to be getting a significant amount of rain from Seattle to Everett down to Tacoma and Olympia. All of us will have almost an inch an hour. In fact, that's what we've measured out on the coast with the Doppler radar measurements of the precipitation rate. It's coming in that fast. So as we expect the overnight hours to continue to be windy and rainy, we have wind gusts as we get closer to this midnight hour, expected to start surging up to 45, even 50 miles an hour in the wind gusts up through Puget Sound. Those 50-mile-per-hour gusts expected to be up around the north interior. Certainly an issue that we're looking closely at because Futurecast is showing the progression of this heavy rain and wind by 2 a.m. over the Sound. We still have a secondary band of heavy showers coming in that will hammer parts of the north interior closer to 4 to 5 a.m. before we get to a break. Next round of some very light rain brushes by early Thursday morning. So we do get a break. It's just we have to get through the night tonight, and there may be some power outages, and my concern would be with the saturated ground, some trees coming down. Temperatures tomorrow will be right around the low to mid 50s for daytime highs, and we're going to spend the first 6 to 8 hours cooling a little bit closer to that 50-degree mark as cooler air moves in. Then on Thursday, we get that little bit of light rain in the morning, and then we have a drier break and a little light rain coming in the evening. Friday looks like a drier break. This will be good for the rivers to recede and our streams and creeks to settle. Breezy, windy conditions pick up again for our weekend. Saturday's the first day of winter, and we're going to head into a rainy, blustery weekend once more, with Sunday probably being the stormiest of the stretch. But tonight, we got a few hours here. It's going to get pretty rocky.
Appreciate the warning.
Yes.
Thank you.